Are you feeling stuck in your business, professional or personal life? Or are you struggling to find purpose and direction? Imagine having a clear sense of direction, achieving your goals and living a fulfilling life. Joy Onyeso Coaching Consult is here to help you. We will work with you to identify your strengths, overcome obstacles, and develop a personalized plan to achieve your dreams. With our coaching and consulting services, you will gain clarity, confidence, and the tools you need to succeed. Do not let fear, lack of clarity, or doubt hold you back any longer. Take the first step towards achieving your goals and living your best life. Contact Joy Onyeso Coaching Consult today. Joy Onyeso Coaching Consult, empowering you to reach your full potential. Call, SMS, or WhatsApp +234 704 229 1171. Or you can visit our website www.joyoyesocoachingconsult.com.
Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of Friday Night Hangout. Honestly, I'm so excited to welcome us all to episode 248. We are still in season 23, and we are still talking about the theme New Beginnings and a Fresh Start. We do recognize that this is the first month in the second quarter of 2026. So that's why we're talking about new beginnings and fresh start. So if it's your first time joining us, welcome. My name is Joy Onyeso. I'm the host of the Friday Night Hangout. This is that safe space where we have very good conversation in a relaxed and fun manner on topical issues. And so tonight we're going to be talking about scaling your business, strategies that work, right? Last week, we talked about money moves for a fresh start. We looked at ways of becoming more financially responsible, ways of budgeting and building wealth. And so tonight, we're going to take it a step further. We're going to be looking at how do we scale. Now, this topic is very apt because you may be at that space where you're asking yourself, is this the time for me to expand? Some of us talk about expanding. Maybe you're selling from the house and then you're talking about, oh, I want to get a store. I want to move from one store. I want to have 2 stores. I want to expand from 1 state to 2 states. I want to move from Nigeria and become a regional brand. Now, there are certain questions you need to ask yourself and provide response to before you know if you're ready to scale. Now, what are some of the challenges you're facing in your business currently? Maybe bad debt, late delivery, inconsistency in quality, depends on what kind of sector you are in. But I want to tell you that scaling is not for you if you haven't sorted these issues out. If you still have bad debt, you are not able to separate your finances, know which one is business funds and which one is family funds. You're not able to identify where your inconsistent quality is coming from. You still tell someone that will deliver today and it takes you 1 week to deliver. You shouldn't be talking about scaling. Scaling should happen when you have exhausted the resources you have at that point, at that level. You have mastered it. It's more effective to learn how to do one thing 10 times better than doing 10 things on a very, very low scale, right? So you don't just want to move into scaling because Mama Ngozi is moving into scaling, or your friend Chinonso is moving into scaling, and you think, oh, the next thing for me is I need to get more shops, or this shop is too small. There are critical questions you need to ask yourself. So before we even talk about those questions, let's ask ourselves, what really is scaling? When we talk about business scaling, what are we talking about? We're not talking about doing more work. No. What we are talking about, so if you think you're scaling, more money is coming in, but you've not been able to fix the cost level. So the revenue is growing and the cost is also growing, that's not scaling at all. When you scale, you should be able to earn more revenue at reduced cost. For instance, if you used to make 500,000 naira per month, now you should be able to make 1 million naira with a reduced cost. But when you were making 500,000 naira, your cost was maybe 50,000, 75,000. Now, when you scale, when you increase your revenue to about 1 million, and then your cost jumps to 170, 180, that's not scaling at all. So with scaling, we're looking at systems. It's not just about selling more, you're selling more effectively. So you need to ask yourself these three key questions. The first, increasing my cost. Second question is, am I able to scale, and am I able to stay away from my business without my business needing me? Most of us who are small business owners, we built our business around us. So when you're not in the office, the customer doesn't have the trust in the system to buy. They want to see you. They want you to sell personally to them and all of that. If you're still in that phase, then scaling is not what you should be talking about. You need to start thinking on how to make your customers to trust the system you're building. So when we talk about scaling, we're really looking at systems. How do I build a system that can enable me to earn more income without me having to run all the process? Let that sink in a little bit. How do I earn more without putting in more hours, without stretching myself a lot, without compromising my rest? That's really very key. How do I earn more without my customers leaving? Yeah, with them having trust in the systems that I have built. This and more will be the conversation we'll be having tonight. So we're going to be looking at effective strategies that work, right? So in very simple terms, when we talk about scaling, what are we talking about? Increasing your revenue, reducing your costs, meaning there has to be system. Now, if your revenue is increasing and your cost is not reducing, you're talking about growth. That's not scaling. There's a difference between growth and scaling. Scaling has got to do with system. I want you to note that. So when you start thinking about scaling your business, what you should be thinking about, what systems do I need to put in place to enable me earn more and then reduce the man hour or the time I put into my business. Now you want to ask yourself, why is that so many businesses stay stagnant, right? What is the difference between working hard and scaling smart? These are key questions that you want to be asking yourself before you move on to the next level. Now, when we talk about working hard, you can work hard and you don't work smart. Whereas when we're talking about scaling, we're talking about working smartly. You're doing things smartly, meaning that of course you're going to be employing technology. In this current era, you can't be talking about things without talking about we can't be talking about scaling without talking about technology. Now, before I go further, I want to ask you to like and subscribe our YouTube channel, Power Woman TV. Also, like and subscribe our YouTube channel, Friday Night Hangout. This is something you need to do now. Okay, so when I was preparing for this program, I was just thinking, how can one scale smartly? And I was thinking about my own experience because I've scaled. I know scaling comes at different levels. You scale, you stay at a level, you make sure that you're okay, stable before you move on to the next level. And I was just thinking about even how I started the coaching consult, right? I've been sharing this story. Now, it started from me using my phone, using my book as a rest during the COVID season. And I couldn't even afford to recruit anyone at that point in time because, of course, there was no pathway to earning income from the program. And so it wasn't even advisable to start recruiting because you need to be sure how you're going to pay salaries, right? So when you're talking about scaling, you need to think about all of this. How am I going? Do I need to recruit more staff? Do I need to have more technology, right? And if so, where would the funding for all of this come from? Can the business effectively carry this cost without collapse? because systems can collapse. If you put too much on it, it will collapse. It's just like when you have a 5 kVA generator, you're using equipment in the house. You put on your AC that is not an inverter AC. You put on your deep freezer, your fridge, the TVs. What will happen? The generator will just shut down because it's carrying an overload. And that's what happens in our business as well. When we overload our business with costs, when we overload our business with processes that is not ready for, when we overload our business with a number of things, what happens is it collapses. So you want to think and ask yourself, am I at the growth stage or am I at the scaling stage? Because the growth stage, like I explained, is different from the scaling stage. So the growth stage, yes, retaining the customers that you have. Because even at the growth stage, you should have been able to answer the question, like what kind of solution am I bringing? Is it a solution that people constantly need? And how fast moving is the product or the solution I'm bringing forth? You know, you would have answered all of those, know what your unique value proposition is, and then you see how much you have done before you can start talking about scaling. So growth looks at efforts, scaling looks at systems. And when you're scaling, what you're doing is leveraging your resources effectively. Now, if you want to attract and retain customers, one of the things you need to have answered is, what is my value proposition? What do you bring to the table? What is unique about the solution you bring to the table? If it's your product or your services, why do I need to keep coming to you to buy those products? How soon can I get my product? If I bring up my product today, how soon does it take me to exhaust whatever I have? For instance, if I make clothes, ready to wear clothes, and I'm into maybe short gown or office clothes, by the time I finish my, be able to do all of this before you talk about scaling. You should be able to answer what your profit margin is with that. So at that point, you have talking about you mastering your sales, you mastering your processes, you understand what your profit margin is. Because when you start looking at scaling, you're now looking at profit margin. You want to keep expanding your profit margin. At that point, you know you're ready to scale, okay? Now, you also want to look at consistent visibility and marketing. I keep telling us, if we have big brands who have been in the industry for years, they still, dedicate funds for marketing. You will know that even you as a small business owner, you cannot tell yourself that you don't want to market. Of course, you may want to look at marketing, the marketing ways that are more, cost effective for your business, of course, because you won't have the same capital outlay for your marketing like big brands. But you just want to know, is a must that you have to market. You have to market your product. You have to keep putting your product out there consistently before the face of those who needs to see it. Out of sight is out of mind in business. Out of sight is out of mind. And I want to just look at Facebook. When you stop posting consistently for a while, the Facebook algorithm now just doesn't recognize you again. It takes quite some effort for you to build that momentum again. That's how it is with your business, right? If you don't put that effort in making sure that your business is out there, people are seeing your business, people recognize. Don't get tired of putting your business out there. Don't get tired. You need to be consistent, consistently marketing your products. All of those things that you need to, or services. Now, you cannot talk about scaling if you've not built trust and relationships. Because when you're talking about scaling, you must have tied in some credit somewhere, right? Where your business can have, that currency to take credit for this or for that to improve what you need to do. So, for instance, if your business is such that I'm a fashion designer, I should have enough credit to say I need these fabrics. Can you supply me 200 million worth of fabrics? I'm going to give you 60 million, 70 million, and give me 30 days, 60 days credit. If you have not gotten to that level, please don't start talking about scaling. Some of us think that business is all about putting your own money all the time. No, when you're at that level, you're still at the survival level. When you start growing and talking about scaling, you're at that point where you have credit facilities. Your business has integrity, and you can take credit, use the credit, grow your business, and do what you need to do. So think about it. How credit worthy is your business? If you've not fixed that, you've not built trust for your brand, if you've not built credible business relationship, if you've not built complementary relationship in your system, even in your ecosystem, right? Who are those in your ecosystem, your business ecosystem? You need to know them and you need to have good relationship with them and build credible relationship with them that they can also have an impact on your business and your business also impacts on them. So when you're running a business, it's not in isolation. So if you say, oh, I'm an introvert, I just like to do my own thing, then you're not ready for business. You're not ready for big time business. And for women, I want to encourage us. Let us move beyond the hustle spirit to the scaling spirit, where we begin to own things, own distribution channels, right? When you start talking about scaling, it means that you want to start owning distribution channels. What does that mean? It simply means that you have the access, you have the control to your customers. So if you've not been able to walk through and understand where will my numbers come from, what are my distribution channels, which one do I have very strong hold over, then you've not started. And that's what I want. You see, when you keep talking about urgent 2K, hustle, what it does to your mindset is that it limits you from doing the necessary work that can enable you to grow and scale. You will live in that survival mode, but you're not thinking big, you're not thinking creatively, right? And that's the space you want to be in, so that you know, oh, I'm packing this in the parking lot. This is going to be my next level of growth, scaling. But for now, I know. So because there's something about when you know where you're going to, it motivates you. You know, you are excited because you can see the picture. And I will always say that when you can't envision it, then you cannot do it. You need to be able to envision it. You need to be see clearly where you're going to. And then you need to start focusing on increasing your revenue strategically. Let us think in a bit. How do I increase my revenue strategically? So that if I'm earning 5,000 naira this month, I should have a pathway that will enable me to increase to 10,000 naira, 15,000, 50, 100,000. Otherwise, you lose motivation for the business. You want your business to grow and then you want to scale the business. But for you to do that, there has to be a way for you to diversify income streams. What I always talk about, this wheel of hand, or you look at the tires of the bicycle or the cars, you see that it has a lot of wheels, right? So your business should have diversified income stream. Yes, you start with one, solidify that one, master it, then look at what are the other value chains. Every business has value chains. So if you do not know what the value chain of your business is, let this be a call for you tonight to sit down and think, what are my value chain? How can I diversify my income stream? Especially if you're operating in a climate like Nigeria. My goodness, you now need to start thinking smartly and doing things smartly and looking at what fits into what you're doing. This is not a time to say, oh, my passion. Passion is good, it's great. It's what ignites. But the passion has to be monetized into things that are realistic, into things that can earn an income, right? And some of us don't have pricing strategy. We just think, okay, you sell low. When I sell low, people will buy. No. You can be selling lower price than someone else, your competitor, people will still go there, because beyond that low price, there's a whole lot of that. That's what we need to look at, what your strategy is for your pricing. It's not just about selling low. There are a number of other factors you need to look at. You need to look at quality, you look at the competition, you need to look at the value. There's a whole lot of things to think about. And then you have your pricing strategy. What will be your entry point? What will be your leveling point? What will be your next level point? You need to think it's true. And then, of course, you need to look at how can you maximize your existing customers. And that's why sometimes we don't even think about this, so we don't try to take good care of the customers we have. Any business that relies on just new customers will not scale. You want to be able to create an economy around your business that your existing customers will always find something to get from your business. And that's why I'm talking about the value chain. How do you create that economy in your business that there's something your existing customers can always come back to? So when you look at the number of returning customers that you have, it's a very good indicator of how well your business is doing. Now you come to the main thing in the house, which is building systems. Like I said, scaling has got to do with systems. So if you're not talking about thinking and talking about building systems for sustainable growth, then you have not started. Everything your business cannot start and end with you. I know of certain clients that I have. One of the things I will point out quickly is everything about the business starts and ends with them. Nobody else has knowledge about what you do. You are afraid. You don't want to share your knowledge. Then you're not doing your business any good. You should be able to document things and institutionalize knowledge in your business. We talk about knowledge management. How do you manage knowledge in your business? There are certain things you would be the only one who knows and know how to do. That may be your differentiation factor, but there are things you need to learn how to delegate, and you know how to build an effective team to help you deliver on the results that you want to achieve. So you start looking at processes. How do I automate routine processes so you don't keep doing the same thing over and over again? What am I talking about? Even when you go to Facebook, so you can also, you can schedule your posts, right? It's the same thing with businesses. There are certain tasks that you can just schedule and it will run by itself. This can be done, this can be done. What are the systems we can put in place to automate this process and reduce the man hours spent here, and we put it into something else, right? Then you look at performance. If you're doing a lot and you're not tracking it, then you haven't started yet. Scaling is not for you. So for you to talk about scaling your business, you must have good record. You must have data that you can use in making informed decisions. You should be able to track your performance. You should be able to know what results you get from what products or services. You should be able to know which product gives you the most profit margin. You want to put a lot of energy into where you get the most margin from. We don't want to run sentimental business, right? Where you're just doing things, there's no profit. You just say, let me just be turning money around. Who are you? You're not doing yourself any good. So you want to look at your business and think strategically and think about how can I position my business in such a way that it is going to grow. And I say this to my women, to my sister, listen, if you're a businessman, if you're an entrepreneur right here, you want to build your brand in such a way that there are prospects for it to grow. And one way of doing that is building system, tracking performance, having record, making sure that you collate, you analyze your data, and you make decisions based on those data. What do your data tell you? Not what is your sentiments or emotion telling you. And so I just want to think about this as we plan to wrap up. What is one area of your business that you want to grow in Q2? Do you have opportunities where you sit with yourself or you sit with your team to talk about your dream, your vision for the business? Do you have set goals for Q2? Do you have set goals for Q3? Do you have set goals for Q4? Or do you just run your business as it goes? Pay as it goes. You don't have to pay as it goes, and you don't think about it. You just keep retopping. But if you want to run a sustainable brand and you want to scale your business, you cannot just be running it as it goes. You need to sit down, think about it, think about the structure, think about the system you want to put in place, and think about the team that you want to run this vision with. If you're a solopreneur, that's not wrong. But if you want to scale, you need to start thinking about team. So before trying to recruit, start thinking about what kind of person do I need? What kind of character do I want? Beyond the skill set, what kind of character do I want? So I want to tell you this tonight, that growth requires clarity. Scaling requires structure. And results require consistency. And I'm going to tell you this again. Growth requires clarity. Scaling requires structure and systems. Results require consistency. So think about it and identify one growth strategy you want to implement, right? And I always tell you, the next 72 hours, what do you want to implement? Don't overthink it. In the next 72 hours, just by listening to this conversation, I know some creative juice will be going on in your head right now. So ask yourself, in the next 72 hours, what can I do? What can I change? What can I implement? Just one thing, not two things. One. What is one thing you want to implement in the next 72 hours? Then I want you to review your current business model? Do you even know what model you're running? What kind of business are you running? What kind of structure do you have? What is your pathway to growth? Right? If you don't sit down this weekend, take time out, take a pen and paper or your digital device. I want you to just think about your business. Where do you see your business? I don't know about you, but I get excited. I've been working on some new business ideas and I just get so excited just thinking about the possibilities, thinking about what will I do, and I faced it. This is what I'll do in phase 1. This is what I'm going to do in phase 2. These are the milestones I need to hit. This is what. So you need to sit down and get very, very structured, right? Then I want you to take one action, just one. Knowledge gained without implementing it is a waste. So if you're listening to me tonight and you don't want to take one thing away you can readily implement, that is a waste. Then I would have failed in my responsibility, that I know you won't allow me to fail. So what is one thing you're going to implement in the next 72 hours that's going to make a change in your business? And I want you to sit on this, think it through, write it, plan it, and take an action. Take an action. Take a step forward. Don't just sit down on it. So I want to thank every one of you that has stayed through with me, that have watched this program. And I want you to use the comment section. Tell me what is one key takeaway you're leaving this conversation with tonight. That's your accountability as well. So you write it. Oh, this is one thing I'm going to be doing differently. This is one thing I'm taking away from the conversation tonight. I just want to appreciate you for staying through with us. The conversation still continues this April. I got you big time this April. So don't go anywhere. Join me next week, Friday. We're going to have another interesting conversation as we keep up on the theme, new beginnings. So it's part of the new beginnings. When you want to scale, it's a new beginning. So next week, Friday, we're going to continue the conversation. And I want you to stay tuned with me. Don't go anywhere. I'll see you. God bless you and see you next week. From all of us at Friday Night Hangout Studio, we love and appreciate you. Bye for now. See you. Hello, I am Professor Joy Oniso, the convener of She Speaks Summit and your Clarity Coach. I am delighted to invite you to the She Speaks Summit 2026, happening from 25th to 27th June 2026 here in Enugu, Coast City, Nigeria. This year, we bring you a powerful experience designed to help you gain clarity, build capacity, and achieve excellence in your life and work. As a VIP, you will access our Leadership Mastery Workshop under the Coach Elevate program with certification opportunities, exclusive coaching, and premium networking. As a regular participant, you will gain full access to the summit sessions, business and financial growth series, clarity and communication sessions, as well as our pitch and connect, including the gala night. And as for students, this is a unique opportunity to learn, connect, and grow within a powerful dynamic community of women who are building and leading. Now, She Speaks Summit is more than an event. It is a strategic investment in your growth and future. I look forward to welcoming you. Use the link below to register, and I'm super excited at the opportunities you would be unlocking. See you at the She Speaks Summit 2026. This is